Okay, I got the computer working again. It wasn't the computer, a bloody router or router, or whatever you want to call the thing. Um, this is this date, the Notre Dame date. Okay. So we've been looking at Madonna for the 425 potential death date. And if we go to the burning of Notre Dame, which is referenced in iPet Go, which is then re-referenced, there's a re-reference with Madonna at the Super Bowl. We have the Black Madonna with the Super Bowl trophy in iPet Go. Madonna does her Super Bowl halftime show. She comes in as the goat climbing on the dam. Okay, so we have all these tie-ins with Madonna and the Super Bowl and Notre Dame, and again in Snatch. The caravan that Mary lives in burns, which is a reference to Notre Dame burning. And we have Brad Pitt playing the fighting Irish guy, which is referenced again in Back to the Future, with the fighting Irish that, Marty's always wanting to fight people. He's the fighting Irish McFly. And obviously the reference with Biff, to hit somebody to biff them. And then, and again back to Brad Pitt, Fight Club. you know, I mean, it's just around in circles with this stuff. But anyway, this number jump that I couldn't get to work last time should work now. And it was from Notre Dame burning through to today's date, 425. Okay. And if I click this, it's 2203 days, 611 on 6 years, 11 days. And if I just click on it, what's interesting is it comes out at a prime number, and it's 328. Okay, 328. If we read that number backwards, 823, what is interesting about 823 is that's the release date for Snatch, the film. Okay, so that is, it's just super duper interesting, isn't it? It's very, very interesting, in fact, that Notre Dame burning is referenced in Snatch, and when we look at the what the number jump comes out as, okay, from that burning through to today's date, we happen to get a release date here. Yeah, it's in reverse, but there's that. Okay, now important information that I missed out of the last video. Okay, I forgot to do this. Where is she? We started on her, I think. Oh, where the hell is she? Now, of course, I won't be able to find who I'm looking for. Oh, Daniel, why don't you get these things ready before? Well, I don't know what I did with her. Lost her. Wikipedia. Oh gosh. Let's go down this way. I think she's further down here. Maybe she's right at the end. Oh, right at the end. There we go. Wouldn't be one of my videos without having a 5-minute little break just looking through tabs. Okay, so this character is in the Mia Wallace. I don't know how to say them. Mia Wallace resurrection scene, where John Travolta, Vincent Vega takes Mia Wallace over to Eric Stoltz's house, Lance, or whatever the hell is. And it's interesting, it's Lance, isn't it? Because of the connection to 423. And also, well, I say that that's interesting because also the day before his birthday, because he's 9/30 his birthday, same as the Hoover Dam. But the day before is St. Michael's Day, Michaelmas, and that's September the 29th is the day before, which again is another reference to slaying the dragon, which is St. Michael slaying the dragon, and then we also have St. George's Day that's just been a couple of days ago, just 2 days earlier. So that's kind of interesting for sure. Anyway, Getting onto this character here, you'll notice it's April the 26th. Ah, it's the kind of the day after, and it's April the 26th, 1972. And if we put that in a number jump, right? Where do I have? Well, maybe it's right next to. No, done those two before. Hang on. No. You should have seen this before. I had so many tabs open, I couldn't open any more tabs. And the whole thing was just, I'd open a tab and then it'd disappear. Oh, blimmin' hell. Maybe we'll do some of these here in a minute. We're looking for, was that the one we just went on? I was going to say, was that already up? Of course, now I can't find, now I can't find. That's a repeat. That does not even show in anything. That's all been gone. Here it is. This is it. 4/26, 1972. Okay, I was just about to quit doing this video because I'm looking through tabs again. What I want you to note, right? Okay, I don't want this number. Let's just click on it and just see if there's nothing interesting, right? But if we look at this here, this is really interesting. 52 years, 364 days. Why is that interesting? Let me show you why that is super duper interesting. That's that chart we were looking at on the last one. Let me go to the chart of Lorraine. Okay, now why is 52 years is what it was, 364 days. Okay, now check this out. Look, in our 11 column, okay, check this out. 364. Okay, so what? Well, if we look right above, we have, I mean, if you've watched my decodes before, you know all about the stuff that's in this column here. Got all the Queen's stuff in here. Okay, because there's the Queen's death, there's the Queen's funeral, and of course the Queen's birthday on the 111th day of the year, 254 days remaining, ties back in with 9/11, which is on the 254th day, and the 254th day, 111 remaining. Now, just read that number as a date. Yeah? Oh, look. 25/4. It's right above this 360. And let's remember, look, let's look at this. 52. Okay, and I've got a ton of other number jumps that are buried in there. There's our 25. Okay, and also if we forget this grey number here, let's look at the number that's previous to this as well. Oh, wow, okay. We can pick that out of there as well. And I think I might have this number jump up, but I think Vinnie Jones's number jump kind of looks at this number here. Let me show you. Let me see if it's up. We might as well. We're just going to be jumping all backwards all over the place with these things. Where is it now? Sure, it was here, and we'll do a couple other ones. Yeah, this was Vinnie Jones's birthday through to today's date, 22025, and of course you could add in the end date as well and get us to the 26th, which is train, and then you've got the 60 years, 111 days. Oh dear, 60 years, 3 months, 21 days, 321. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just interesting, isn't it? And I mean, of course, anytime I'm seeing this sort of stuff, I'm thinking, ooh, yeah, palindromic numbers. And you can drop that off and get back to a palindromic number, 422. And then we were just looking at, what was 422? I can't remember now, actually. There was something that was, what was 422? I can't remember. Something important was 422. But you see what I'm saying? we kind of had this going on with Jake Gyllenhaal as well just recently. You know, just interesting palindromic numbers. And to do with Madonna is pretty interesting because her number itself within the golden ratio is a palindromic number, her birthday, the 816. So that's kind of another reason why I find that a little more interesting with Madonna. Did I have anything else I wanted to say about this? Again, you can see she just used the 222 in her funeral rites video. Yeah, if you recall, it was 2 minutes 22 seconds long. So that's kind of interesting with his number jumps. And of course, one other thing is with Vinnie Jones. So that particular day. Oh no, with Vinnie Jones is the 105. And again, from 9/11 to Christmas is 105 days. So that was another thing that was fairly interesting. And I might as well, I'll tell you what. So when we're just tidying up stuff here that I've forgotten about. Here was another number, which is again, this was Easter last year. So if we do Easter last year through 391 days with our inclusive, right? And read that backwards. 193. The 19th of March, or we did the dollar bill that had the 193 in it. Okay, and so what did I want to say about that? Prince also did the song 319. So I know this is kind of, it's not the right way around, but it's kind of jumbled up there. But that particular date tied back in with Bruce Willis. I mean, I haven't really done anything with Bruce Willis yet, but of course he was the boxer in Pulp Fiction, yeah. Just as Brad Pitt was playing the son part as well. I don't know if you'd necessarily. I think there's two characters that obviously walk away, and one is Bruce Willis, and the other one is Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, so you have the scapegoat scenario, and just a couple other things I wanted to say. So Marcellus Wallace, who's the husband, okay, and we see this mark on his. He's got a plaster stuck on the back of his neck, on the back of his head. Actually, I haven't really thought about that. But the briefcase that has the gold in it that is returned to him by Vincent Vega. Again, that gold. If we go back to Spandau Ballet, yeah. Do I have it up here still? I probably don't now. Spandau Ballet. Where are we? Darn it, I don't know. Spandau Ballet. Oh no, of course it's not come up. But we have the reference in Spandau Ballet to this thing and the briefcase, and then the goddess that's covered in gold, and we got back to 926 with her from GoldenEye, not GoldenEye, Goldfinger, and the Ten Commandments written by the finger of God, God. And this is the Ten Commandments tablet here, and that's what's in the briefcase. That's what's returned to Marcellus Wallace. And again, Marcellus Wallace is saved by Bruce Willis. They're both in a dodgy situation there, and yeah, basically there's also a resurrection of him as well, isn't there, and his wife. So, and the wall ace, yeah, the wall with the two aces, the two 11s. stuck in it, or the four aces, however you want to look at that, is the Hoover Dam, the wall ace. So there was something else I was going to talk about, and it is this. Look, hang on, I've already got it in the next scene. And what's interesting is, so they do the bullseye on the heart in Pulp Fiction, where John Travolta's going to stab her with the adrenaline, with the needle. Okay, so we're getting back with the idea of darts again, because he asked for a black magic marker, and she brings it. I think it's a red one. Okay, so they have this red dot at the heart, which is the 50. Okay, so this is kind of interesting with this scene in, again, he walks into the pub. They've just been in the car wreck, and so Bullet Tooth Tony and Vinny's just walked into the pub, and he's going to sit down and have a pint of Guinness, an Irish reference again. And the pub is the Drowning Trout is the name of the pub. Okay, and there's a 4-9 reference with the door and everything, but Drowning Trout, and in Who's That Girl, the film, there is a reference to the guy that's with Madonna is called Loudon Trot. So we have Loudon Trot and Drowning Trout. I thought that was kind of interesting. And there's also this connection back to Spandau Ballet, because if you remember, Martin Kemp, is it Martin? Martin Kemp, I'm sure it's Martin, that's in EastEnders. Okay, and so the Queen Vic, the famous pub in EastEnders, I want to say there's also, so there's that connection to EastEnders, but what I'm trying to think of is Frank is also in Frank Butcher, who is Mike Reed in this film. I can't remember what's his name in the film. Denovitz. I can't remember what his first name is. But anyway, that actor is in the film as well. This reference back to maybe back to EastEnders, and the connection back to Spandau Ballet with him and EastEnders. I don't know. If you're English, you kind of probably are following what I'm talking about here. But this connection with the pub, and in this scene, what ends up happening is these dudes call Tony's bluff with some replica guns, and Vinny points out that he has the Desert Eagle .50. So this reference to .50, right? So we have this, it's a kind of a 50 reference, so a bullseye reference. And the Desert Eagle, of course, again, the Desert Eagle, the Phoenix, very interesting. And if I've got, let me show you something as well that's kind of, this is kind of a little bit interesting. There's Vinnie Jones. This is kind of interesting with Vinnie Jones, because if you know, Vinnie Jones is a footballer, which is again kind of interesting with this. I know it's American football, but this football connection with the iPet goat thing. But played for Wimbledon. Okay, so check out the double-headed eagle that looks a lot like a phoenix. Okay, then we've got Leeds United. Look at the colours for Leeds United. The shield, I mean, of course, they're all going to be shields, which is also important because, of course, the shield is the dam. But look at those colours. The freight train, the Ukrainian war, the flags that are on the Clint Eastwood Golden Gate Bridge as Marty comes back from the future, back from the past. So this is well interesting. Then we go to Sheffield United. We got the Cutlasses. And what's interesting about that, this idea of sword fighting, which shows up in Who's That Girl, where they're fencing, and again that shows up in not GoldenEye, Die Another Day, and we have that connection with Die Another Day. And in fact, we'll put that connection in to the number jumpers because I don't have that one up. And then of course Chelsea, not so much to say about Chelsea, and QPR, Queen, and interesting with Queen's Park Rangers, okay, because all those three things, the Queen, obviously Madonna, the park. I'm thinking of, and this is very loose connections now. I'm thinking of Jessica Parker, that kind of thing. And then the Ranger is the first lift that Marty gets. He gets the Ford Ranger gives him a tow, and then we see that repeated in Terminator 2 with the Road Ranger connection there. I don't know what to say about it. QPR. Okay, so I just thought I was blooming super duper interesting. Yeah. Especially that when I saw that, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's bloody interesting with this, you know. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, what else did I have to say? There was something else that I was. Oh, so let's just go back to this scene. So anyway, so the Desert Eagle with the gun, and then at the end of the scene again, these guys leave, and we have on the as they're leaving, the Specials song Ghost Town comes on, and of course Madonna has her own version of a song called Ghost Town, which is an apocalyptical song as well. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Another connection back with another connection back to Madonna, and I believe, I want to say, has a earlier on we see Bullet Tooth Tony get shot a bunch of times, and I think he ends up grabbing a sword, and which is kind of interesting as well with this connection back with the fencing in Who's That Girl, okay, well, sword fighting, okay, which is repeated in Die Another Day. Okay, right, blooming round in circles as usual. Okay, let me. What was that number jump I was just about to show you? Let me show you. Oh, that's an interesting number jump there. Let me show you this one, because this is our next date that ties into this. Okay, for the Hoover Dam, and this is Labor Day. Okay, so I'm kind of bridging on to some stuff that I'm going to show you. I guess, I don't know, probably not tonight because I want to go to bed. But if we go from 420 Easter through to Labor Day, okay, which is, I'm thinking, could be a possible date for the Hoover Dam. 9/1 is in the top of the dollar bill, okay, along with, you know, this 425 is also on that other side of the dollar bill where 9/11 is. So this connection with Madonna and 9/11, and the, you know, this rearrangement of the 254 back to the 25th of April is pretty interesting. But 9/1 is essentially the same. It's the idea of coming back to the cycle, starting over again, because it's the same point as 9/11. Yeah, in the Fibonacci sequence, 9, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you was this number here, because in Back to the Future, when Marty gets back and goes to try and save Doc, and he's going to roll down the hill there, 134 is on the clock. In fact, 133 is on the clock, 134, and I think you can see 135 as well. So 134 is on the clock. So that is darned interesting with this number jump here. Now, why is this interesting? Well, let me show you something real quick. Because when we went from that date through, okay, if we carry on to 9-1, let's go back, it's 9017, okay, is what our numbers are. I don't know if there was anything interesting with that. No. But 9017, let me show you something. Now, you've got to follow along with this stuff. And you've got to know the old dollar bill decodes as well, kind of. 917 numerology is right here in the chart. It's the bottom of this 11 column again. Okay, this is the thing we're trying to get back to. Okay, and what you'll see is that in the dollar bill, this reference is in the dollar bill. 1011 is in the dollar bill, and it happens to be 1011 happens to be the 314th day of the year, which is pi. And that is referenced in the dollar bill with, the word pi is in the dollar bill as well. And so if you reflect this word pi as, numbers now, if I was to reflect that, so let's write it like this. Okay, so just imagine a mirror here. Okay, so now you can kind of see that 19 is blooming interesting. And the fact that 1011 is in the dollar bill, and then our following day is 1111, which is at the Hoover Dam, and this is cross-referencing down to this number here, with that number jump from that kind of hidden date that I've talked about before, which is the Christmas before 9/11. So this is like the conception point. Okay, this is when life begins, if you like. We'll call it life begins at that point, or at least the potential for life to begin is at that point. Okay, because I don't want to start talking about when life actually begins or not. Okay. I have waffled for so long, I have not got a clue where I am at anymore with this. I can't remember, but there was something. This number pops up again in another number jump, and that's why this was really, really interesting. I think, let me just try something here. Let's just try something. Let's go. I can't remember what it was now though. 9/11. No. Oh, well, that's what I was going to show you on this one. I don't think there was anything interesting here, was there? 168 was the sum for this, which is interesting with Madonna again. But I want you to look at this: 23 years, 355 days. So we're 10 days short. Let me show you something, because let's think about this for 1 second. If we're 10 days short, that's what I was going to show you on this. If we put the clock tower back in, right? Okay, and I carry it on down I'll carry on that down just a little bit. Okay. There are a couple of interesting numbers. Number one is this 16 down here, and this 16 over here. Okay, because if you recall, our lightning came down, ZZ top, hit the top of the clock tower, goes down through 9/11, clock stops at 10:04, comes across here somewhere. This should be a 9 here, because the end of the cycle, so this 0 would actually be a 9 if we were to repeat the cycle. So there's our 911. Our fire trails come up, make the number 11 here. They also make the symbol of pi here, which we have the numbers for pi right here. So if you see my decode on this before, you know how interesting it is. You know that I've talked about the 25 reference because they smash through the door when they do the hoverboard scene. Okay, so 25's been, I've talked about 25 before as a potential date. I can't remember what 25, but, and of course, obviously Madonna's Super Bowl thing is a very good reference to that idea there. But get to the point, Dan. On the opposite side of here, we have this 23, and we have the 355 there. Okay, so the 23 and the 355, and not to mention we also have 53 here. So it's kind of, it's very interesting indeed. What's also interesting is Madonna did her funeral rites thing, 222, and we can pick out Madonna's numbers right here. And if we were to have what I call the 4 row in, okay, which is actually very much to do with what was I going to say? It's very much to do with Donald Trump, the extra 4 row that I insert into this thing. I believe it is these numbers right here will show up, 7, 3, and 1. So if you read it in reverse, you've got the ear wound coming, you know, right here as well, which is again just interesting. But you know, what we're dealing with is 23 years, 355 days, and well, I just mentioned one other thing again, is when these cycles repeat, they're going 24 digits. Okay, so we're just 10 days from this thing resetting. So if we were to add on 9 here to, you know, to this, the idea that, you know, we're at, well, let's get rid of this crud so you can see. But you know, what I'm trying to say here is, you know, that 9/11, you know, this is our reset point here where I've got the slash. 9 is the end of the cycle. 11 is the beginning of the cycle. It's really 9/1. So if something were to happen on 9/1, it would be super duper interesting. Especially the idea of going into labour and waters breaking, etc. At the Hoover Dam. This is super duper interesting because 9/1 is just a repeat of 9/11 basically, which is kind of was my thought process to begin with, that you know what we were going to see was very similar numerology if we saw a repeat thing. What was I saying? But yeah, so we're 10 days short, so you add on, you put your last 9 on there, and you're almost to a complete year again. Okay, we're back to 24 years and 364 days, and then repeating. I don't know what else to say. I think I'm going to call it quits because I have got no idea what I've said in this video. How long is this already? Oh, blimmin' hell, 33 minutes again. Sorry, but I'm going to leave it there. There was a couple other number jumps that I wanted to show as well with this 9. There was another really good one with the 9/1. Oh, one other thing to show real quick. Betty Boop. Oh, that was the number jump. I might have it in here. Hang on a minute. Well, I'll show it in just a second. Betty Boop was born on April the 1st again, 1915. Okay, Betty Boop, April the 1st, 1915, again with this 4-1 reference, and again in Who's That Girl, of course. Do I have the thing up? The character here, I've said before, it reminds me of Betty Boop, the way they've done this, okay, and the way she talks in the thing as well. It's all kind of crazy talking. So it's the kind of Betty Boop thing going on. I haven't really researched any further into that, but I might have the number jump. Yeah, I've got the number jump up, which again is pretty darned interesting. That might have been the 422 that I was thinking about, but you got the 422 again and 423 as well if you include the end date. Okay, so St George's Day, slaying the dragon again. Let me show you this. I'm just seeing if I've got it in here. It's going to be a great big number jump. What's this one? I can't remember that. That's the Hoover Dam. Why have I got this one in here? Oh, it was a prime number. It's not that interesting though, is it? That's the birth of the Hoover Dam through to today's date. That's a different birthday. That's the let me show you something else. Hang on a second. I'll show you this number jump for Elvis. Okay. Yeah, this is why this was interesting. Because I was actually looking for the day before, which was my mum's birthday. And so this is Elvis's birthday through to 424. So I'm not quite getting there, but this is that number that is in pi. Okay, 32979. In fact, I think it might be 239. I don't know if it's 23979, but these may be slightly jumbled at the start here. But this is interesting again with that number that's in pi, and we had this show up with the 8/4 eclipse with Madonna. And so to connect with Elvis's birthday through to almost this day, it's pretty dang close. I thought that was kind of interesting. And there was, here's the number jump. This is mental. Look at this. Okay, look at this number jump. So from the, well, this is kind of ominous for sure. So from the birth of the country, 7/4/1776, the 4th of July, right? Through to 9/1/2025. This is why I was showing you this other thing. Is 91005 days. If you watch We Seek We Find, you'll know all about the 19th of May references. This is just super nuts. And if you've been watching my stuff, right, let's just unclick that a minute, because if you've been watching my stuff, if we were to go to the 4th now, check this out. 91007, we've got the 007 in there, we've got the 91007, right, and that was tying us back in with, where the hell did it go? I can't remember what tab it was on now, sorry. But that was that number jump for, well, wherever it was. But that was that number jump with the, this is crazy, Dan. You've got to be more organised than this dude. Here it is. So that's our beginning of the United States through to 9491007 9017. So this 917 popping up again. That was just interesting for sure. And what else was there? What was this one? 9/4. I'll tell you what this is. Spandau Ballet. I don't think I've got it up here now. No. Oh, yeah. No, what's that? Yeah, here it is. We'll go to it in just a second. 9/4/2000 is the release of Spandau Ballet's Gold album. Okay, so this gold reference again with Madonna with the golden ratio 9147. Okay, so with the 91 and the 47, the beginning and the end maybe rolled into one ear. I don't know with these numbers here, but if we just look at that reference with Spandau Ballet as well, yeah, they had two versions of the gold release. Okay, and this is who I was talking about with EastEnders. Okay, but anyway, I don't know, where is he? It's his brother. I don't know why he's not. Why I don't know. Anyway, um, okay. Look at version 2, 11618. This is Madonna's numbers, and then version 1 is Donald Trump's numbers. And again, this I tell you why that's interesting. So that's that number jump, right? So not only is that interesting, but also if I were to put in, let's see, the Great Scott. Okay, so let's just do that, because of course Billy Idol is super duper loaded in. Well, the hell are you going down? Billy Idol's super duper loaded into all this. So if we go the previous year, right? That's Billy Idol's birthday. It's also the Great Scott. Yeah, it's St Andrew's Day. 146. Donald Trump's birthday numbers. So again, that's Great Scott. Trying to think what else I had. I think I've exhausted most of this now. In fact, the only thing that I haven't done is anything in the in here. Oh, well, I'll show you. Well, here's one thing that's in here. Here's Madonna's numbers, and this 813, or if you read it backwards, 318, which is Diana's death date, that ties into Madonna's numbers here. Okay. What is interesting, and then of course we've got the pi as well, which I was just saying, you can go to 9-1 with the pi. Gosh, there was an interesting number jump with 521 as well. I can't remember what it was, but this connection to Diana. Let me show you this one. Hang on a minute. Whoa. Diana, hang on. What was up here somewhere? Down this end, I think. This is actually kind of interesting as well, because here we go. Check that out. 101. Hoover Dam gematria is 101. This is 10100. Okay. 101,000. Okay. So that is super duper interesting as well, from her death date through to this particular date. I think that's it. I think I've got to call it a night. I need to go to bed. 2 o'clock, look at it. What have I forgotten? There was some interesting stuff with Michael J. Fox's birthday numbers, and I don't know if it was Vinnie Jones or who was I looking at. I can't remember now, but yeah, I don't know. Alright, well, thanks for watching. This is just sort of like the clear up video, just whiffle waffle. If you have been watching my stuff though, you will. A lot of the stuff that I've talked about in other videos before. So if you've been watching my videos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, or you'll recall from another video. Oh yeah, I know what he's. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense there. Um, anyway, I will catch you on another one soon. All right, thanks for watching. All right, cheers. Bye.